So, you're a risk and compliance leader. Your entire job is to protect the organization. But what if the biggest risks, the ones that can really cause damage, aren't where you're currently looking? Today, we're going to talk about how to get ahead of risk by shifting from just managing the consequences to shaping the very decisions where risk is born.
All right, let's start with a question that really gets to the heart of it. Think about this. A project nails its deadline, comes in under budget, but it quietly creates a massive legal exposure. Was that project a success? For decades, the answer would have been yes. But in today's world, with so much scrutiny on sustainability, on AI, on data, that definition is dangerously out of date. A project that hits every metric but leaves the company vulnerable? Well, that's not a success. It's a failure just waiting to happen.
So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the new risk landscape. Then we'll pinpoint this governance gap where all the trouble starts. After that, we'll introduce a framework to shift you from reactive auditing to proactive governance. And finally, we'll talk about what this all means for you and your evolution as a leader.
Okay, let's dive right in. To really get the solution, you first have to understand just how profoundly projects themselves have changed. See, projects aren't just about building a bridge or launching a new app anymore. They're the execution engine of corporate strategy. This is the exact point where those big, ambitious goals from the boardroom get turned into actual systems, real infrastructure, and this is key, public-facing claims. And here's where it gets really interesting. You've got this massive convergence happening. Sustainability, AI governance, climate accountability. These aren't separate issues anymore. They all collide inside of projects. This is literally where your company's carbon claims are born, where AI systems with huge ethical implications get deployed, and where regulatory exposure gets baked in, long before your team is ever asked to take a look.
This convergence creates a huge problem for the way we've traditionally done oversight. So let's pinpoint exactly where things are going wrong.
We tend to think of risk management as this top-down thing, right? Driven by policies made in the C-suite. But that's not actually where the most damaging risks come from.
It's born in the trenches, in the hundreds of small decisions made by project teams every single day, usually under intense pressure to just deliver. The trade-offs they make, the assumptions they bake in, those are the moments that create lasting, serious exposure.
We call this the upstream governance gap. And let's be really clear, this is not a people problem. It's an integration problem. You've got project managers focused on delivery, and you have your teams operating downstream, often brought in way too late, forced to basically audit decisions that are already set in stone. That gap, that's the blind spot where your organization's biggest liabilities are just quietly piling up.
Okay, so if the problem is this huge structural gap, what's the answer? Well, it means we have to fundamentally shift our entire approach.
This right here is the question for every single leader in compliance, risk, and legal today. How do you get upstream? How do you stop being the team that just manages the fallout and instead become a partner who helps shape better, more defensible outcomes from the very beginning? The answer lies in a new way of thinking, a new model of integration. It's about embedding governance right into the DNA of the project. And that's exactly what the PM 5.0 framework is designed to do. Now, this is absolutely crucial. PM 5.0 is not asking anyone to throw out what they're doing and learn a whole new system. It's not a replacement for something like PMBOK. Think of it as an integration layer. It's the connective tissue that links the world of project delivery with the critical world of sustainability, AI governance, and compliance, right at the point where decisions are being made. If you look at this model, you can see how PM 5.0 acts like a bridge. It connects the classic project management discipline with these new impact lenses for sustainability and AI. But most importantly, it creates a formal channel for your team to be integrated into the flow, not just tacked on at the end like an afterthought. And this changes everything about your role. You're no longer just the specialist advisor who reviews things after the fact. You become a decision integrator, a true governance partner who is embedded right where risk is created, providing the guardrails to make better, more defensible choices upstream. So that's the theory. Let's make it real. Let's look at how this actually works in practice by building a defensible, audible trail in two of the highest risk areas out there today, climate claims and AI. Just ask yourself this question, honestly. If a regulator or an investor or even a journalist challenged your company's latest sustainability report, could you trace a big public claim all the way back to the specific project-level assumptions that created it? For most organizations, the answer is a very uncomfortable no. This is exactly what PM 5.0 fixes. By weaving the principles of standards like ISO 14064 directly into the project's decision-making process, it forces those conversations about carbon calculations and assumptions to happen out in the open. They get documented. It creates the very decision trail you would need to defend those claims under intense scrutiny.
Okay, now let's switch gears to AI. AI risk is a completely different beast. With traditional IT, the risk pretty much ends when the project is done. Not with AI. An AI system's life is just beginning at deployment. It keeps learning, it keeps evolving, which means the decisions made way back in the project about data and boundaries, they create this persistent, ongoing risk that can pop up months or even years down the road.
And that is why getting upstream on AI governance is absolutely non-negotiable. PM 5.0 gives you the architecture to connect those high-level board policies, maybe aligned with a standard like ISO 42001, directly to the project team that's actually designing the system. It makes sure that risks around bias or transparency are tackled at the source, not after an algorithm has already done some serious reputational damage.
The practical tool that makes all of this happen is the P5 Impact Lens. It's a beautifully simple framework. It helps structure these conversations so that when a project team makes a choice, they are explicitly thinking about its impact across 5 key areas: people, planet, prosperity, process, and product. It takes the guesswork out of responsible decision-making.
So what does all this mean for you, for your career? Embracing this kind of framework isn't just a small change. It is a massive, strategic evolution of your role in the organization.
This slide really says it all. The past was about reactive oversight. You were reviewing, you were auditing, you were managing the consequences of decisions you had no part in. The future is proactive governance. It's about being a partner who is integrated into decisions, who governs choices, and who actively helps shape better outcomes. You go from being a necessary cost center to an essential strategic partner in creating value.
So let's wrap it up. The convergence of climate, AI, and regulation has created this urgent need for a new kind of leader, someone who can finally bridge that dangerous gap between delivery and governance. The mandate for you is clear. It's time to move upstream. It's time to evolve into a PM 5.0 integration leader.